Hello everyone, welcome to the Winner's Circle community. I'm your host, Dr. Sean Hubbard. Let's continue the conversation on how you can win and how we can win together. Each week, we're joined by a guest who not only cares a lot about what's going on in our society, but who also has special expertise in helping us enjoy more victory in an important area. The area we'd like to deal with today is managing pain and dealing with pain, pain management, as we say in medicine. My guest today is a physician colleague, but she's so much more, really. I've been inspired by her. I've been educated by her throughout the year and more than that. And so I'm really excited to get her insights on the show. We have a lot to learn from her as she has produced so much for us in terms of content. Our guest today is Dr. Niv Lakhera. Dr. Lakhera, welcome to the Winner's Circle. It's so great to have you in the show.
Thank you so much. I'm so excited to be here. Thank you for having me over.
Absolutely. So let me just tell you that I have been inspired by you in so many ways. I mean, we've had a challenging year, and some of it has been painful in ways, but you've kept us entertained, you've kept us educated, and you kept us engaged also in the current events. And I've been really proud of you as you've represented medicine this past year plus, really. So let me just say that off the top. But when I look deeper into your work, and as I followed you, you have so much going on. And so when I was thinking to have you on the show, I thought, is she just physician? I can't just call you a physician, you're an artist. And then I thought maybe I should ask Dr. Lakhera how she sees herself. So that's the first question. How do you see yourself, really?
I see me as a process.
A process.
I'm a process. That gives me a lot of cushion not to arrive anywhere. It gives me a lot of space to fall down, to be imperfect, to make take a little baby steps,
Yes.
Not to be totally in conclusion and not to be harsh on me and on others. So I see me as a process.
I love that. It reminds me of a statement that I saw recently, and it was describing a semicolon. And it was like, the semicolon can have it both ways. It can be sort of the end, but not really. There's much more to the story. And so I'm so glad to share this part of your story. When did you first start to see yourself as a process? And I want to really understand a little bit more about that, because I've seen your work and I'm holding it. We're going to be talking more about that, but let me understand more about your process and how you got here. I know what you do for a living because we're doing some of the same work, but I want to understand your perspective.
So I think I saw me as a process very early in my life because I'm from Delhi, and the best thing about my life is my family. My mom, dad have showered me with, and continue to shower me with unconditional love. They're my rock. And my brothers, sisters, they're my best of friends. But I did, during childhood, I did witness a religious riot. And I did see a lot of inequality, in terms of somebody being very rich, somebody being very poor. Or in terms of health inequality, there was so much injustice I witnessed. And I also saw a lot of people doing incredible things. And, so I'm writing this third book, it's called The Life Currency. And my faith is, and that's what I believe, this is a very unique, weird belief of mine, is that we are not made. We are not born as like something which is not changeable or malleable. And we are also, this is not our first birth, right? Especially spiritually in Hinduism, we believe in reincarnation. So I think some of us are born with certain perception. What you perceive is what you conclude or become or acquire, right? And some people are extremely, perceptive or, empath, as we call them. And I have a lot of empathy growing up. So everything will come inside of me. So if I see somebody in pain, it'll enter me. I'll feel it. What I had to so it was very difficult for me to think that a human being can set another human being on fire. But I saw that, right? In a religious rite, I think it was 84, people killing each other, beheading each other, setting each other on fire. When you witness a word like that, you kind of, you take the pain in, but then you also kind of create, you have to develop, at least I had to develop an understanding how to know that humanity can fall down very low and can be very harmful to itself. And then also develop compassion and forgiveness, that everybody is so different and everybody is doing what they think is right, even if it means, something that we see very, like detrimental. So what I developed was, yes, there is inequality. Yes, there is a lot of pain. There is a lot of beauty. And the way we can survive through, my mission became in life was to become able to make a little difference. Yes. I realize I'm like teeny tiny. I'm like 5 feet, 4-inch with heels. And I'm like, no more tiny because of the pandemic. I'm pretty expanded now. But I'm a very small, tiny unit in terms of universe. But why I'm sent here is between challenging the world and challenging myself, changing the planet, changing myself, curating a little joy and giving some joy to others. That's where I think I have to kind of keep my hopes like intact. So not to be deterred by something. And I think that kind of forced me to be a process, because when you put yourself in a box, when your identity becomes what people say who you are or what you should be, it always breaks at certain point, and then it breaks your soul and it becomes very hard to come back. So if you think you're a process without any certain, box like, identification, then it gives you a lot of grace to become anything that you want, to play with whatever, word gives you.
Right, I get that. I do get that. And I have wondered from time to time, and I appreciate your perspective on that, your process and what you've seen, how you have dealt with it as a person, as a developing spirit. I definitely appreciate that. And I have wondered from time to time, I work in a hospital just like you do. I'm a neurohospitalist, and I'm married to a hospitalist. I have a lot of hospitalist friends, and but I see your work and I see your unique expression, and I wonder how that impacts her care. I wonder how her patients experience this very artful, expressive personality. So that's the question, really. How do you feel that it influences your work, and in what way? Your perspective.
So how does it affect my work as a physician? For what I have become over the years and I have witnessed is to turn into love. I think you have to become love. You can give yourself an opportunity to react in certain adverse situation, but you need to be constantly in a state of love if you want to really truly be transcendental and be whole of you. And I remember once a patient who was very unfortunate, who was a drug seeker, he called me a very racist slur, and he was, in a moment I could have been like, and he actually said F off and then some racist word. And I hugged him and I said, I'm so sorry that you're in so much pain. And please, I know what you're like. When you offer back compassion, and he cried like in my arms.
Wow.
So what and then, you see most people are so, I think we are, I feel so privileged. Also I'm a stroke survivor. You've read about me. It's a privilege to be, first of all, we can see, we can talk, we have education, we have skill, and we can deliver to humanity. We can take care of somebody in their most vulnerable state. I think that's such a huge honor and privilege, and that's how I approach it. And because I think of my poetry, I have actually sneaked some of my poems printout, without saying that it's my poem, just a printout to people who are going through a very tough time, and they appreciate it. And I've sneaked some flowers at times, and I have received a lot of love. So I think people give you love, and there is nothing called hate. People give you unprocessed pain or love. But you need to, I think I try to respond back with a lot of love, but no matter what they give us, because that's what we should be.
So, Dr. Lakhera, I've been reading your poetry, looking at your artistic expressions in all manner, the boots you wear, the posts that you put on the internet, your dance, and of course, I have your hard copy here now. And I have been looking for, is there a theme, is there an overarching message that Dr. Lakhera is presenting to us? What would you say is your message through your art for us?
I think, I've written 6,000 poems or verses, so that's a lot of message, and hundreds of sketches and so many paintings. I think my message, I don't know if I have a message, but what I want to tell people is it's really hard to be a person. And it's okay. It's okay. We are just flesh combined with neurotransmitters. Even our happiness, we're at mercy of our brain, And that's why I'm writing my third book, Life Currency, that I actually talk about neuroplasticity, because I was told I won't walk and I won't have, because of stroke or memory, because my hippocampus was stroked. So I talk about neuroplasticity and body to use your own brain, because these things are not taught us in school or even in med school, or to anyone.
You're right.
And I want people to have this comfort to know that they're born with so much limitations. Just because we have few senses doesn't mean there is not a world around us that does not exist, that we can't perceive. So just to be kind to themselves as they're going through something is what my message is. And also, to make boundaries. It's very essential, because unless you survive, you owe it to yourself to survive. Your body, soul, mind, every mental health, everything needs survival. And so it's called Life Currency, my third book, right? You're spending your life currency, right? How not to get empty. The boundaries are very important. You can disagree with people, and instead of spending more life currency on them, you make a boundary, forgive them, but let them live in their own planet. We are here for a very unique purpose. Take time to know what it is, take care of yourself, have less is more, have less of what you want, and then go from there. And that's what I want. And I want people to realize that when they break down, a lot of the experiences, thankful to social media, have become so unwanted in terms of cosmetics, like you should not break down, you should be always happy. I want to remove all of that, and I want to celebrate being human and having all those experiences in life.
That makes so much sense. And having read through your poetry, I've seen all of those experiences described, the happiness, the pain, the hurt, all of them. The full range is there, so I can appreciate what you're saying. I want your help with something, Dr. Lakhera. Yesterday, International Women's Day around the world, and I know that you represent on a regular basis. I follow you and I learn. And I try to learn from leaders like yourself, and because I mean well, and I don't want to do dumb things that I might do because of something that I thought before, or my own hurt before, or just any old habit. So yesterday, at the beginning of the day, one friend told me, it's International Women's Day. It was a young lady, by the way. She said, be nice, and support women. And that was early in the morning. It was before I could get out the door. And then when I got to work, I saw a post that said, this International Women's Day, I'm a little bit conflicted about it. It makes me a little bit annoyed. And by the time I got into the hospital, I didn't know what to do. So I thought, I thought, okay, I'm going to ask Dr. Lakhera. I went home. It was the first thing that I asked my wife when she got home. What do you think about International Women's Day? And she's like, what? Where's this coming from? So
You
that's
should give foot massage and gifts to every woman around you.
right.
That's the message. That's what International Women's Day is all.
That's the message.
I think we should. I think whatever opportunity we have to acknowledge another human being is a great opportunity. We don't have to anytime. So one of my mission, and I hopefully will accomplish it, is to have a consent week. Work with the United Nations in collaboration with the United Nations to have a consent week workshop across the countries, across the planet, in different schools and in people studying higher education. My point is, it's okay to have a highlight and spotlight on certain gender, certain issues, certain race, whatever it is. I think it's good, but what we can do is, I'm just astounded on your insight. You said you act dumb at times, and that makes you like top 1% people who even would ever say that, right? Forget acknowledging. So I think it's very important. Like, we all have biases, and I think those days and those week or whatever is getting assigned to us is a very good time to pause and think through our own biases and work on them, and keep it as a conscious effort. For example, a lot of people still believe racism does not exist or sexism doesn't exist. Maybe a week about what has actually happened in the history, or a day about opposite gender, maybe this will that is the purpose. I wish there can be an International Women's Month where people are actually forced to, it should also be action oriented. Maybe do two good things for any random woman.
Right.
Like at work, some random woman, acknowledge her, or do something good, or write something good in the review.
Sure.
Support a women-led business. I feel like everything should have an action,
Right.
because when we have action, it reinforces and takes things forward.
Definitely. And you're right, these times, if it's a day or if it's a week or month, it gives us an opportunity to talk about what is it that we can do more effectively.
Right.
Real quick.
Let's make it a Women's Month, March.
I'm for it. I'm behind it.
Okay.
There's no time when we should stop, really, right? Real quick before we start to wrap up, let me ask you, I wanted to get your take on, is there an international person, somebody that we all know that you look up to, or somebody that you think represents extremely well?
Who represents? Are you talking about me having a role model? Because
Yes.
I don't have role model.
Oh, okay. Yeah, sure.
The reason I do, I look up to everyone.
Okay.
I look up to I have been backstabbed and I have been wronged. I look up to that person also, because that particular person must have done something good to me somewhere in his or her life, or must have done something good to somebody else, right? What I look up to is role model actions, right? For me, a role model should be role model action. So, for example, I was really happy when Meghan Markle spoke about mental health, right? I'm looking up to her for that action. Absolutely, or anyone, Stacey Abrams, she changed Georgia. She's working tirelessly on voting rights and getting people to vote and spreading awareness about it. These are role model action, because the reason I don't believe in role model is because we as human beings have a tendency to either worship or demonize somebody. And what happens is, when we make somebody role model, we don't give them a buffer to be human, because everybody's gonna make mistake and everybody's gonna fall down, including me, including you. It should not dismiss everything that we have done good in our life. So it's so that's why I look up to people who are doing good things. There's so many people, women, inspiring women across the planet. My childhood was amazingly filled with such women, like my mom. She always stood up My mom was so, and is still so fearless. She'll stand up for somebody hurting another woman, somebody doing anything wrong. And she taught me to always voice up. She said, you'll always have option not to say something or to speak up. If somebody else's life is in danger, or if you can make a difference, you must always speak up. And that I got from my mother. So I look up to it, for her, those actions of hers. So
Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. Thank you so much for sharing your perspective, Dr. Lakhera, and thank you for coming into the Winner's Circle. I knew that you would have a unique perspective because it's so clear when I follow you that you're going to have a message that I'm not hearing every single day in every single place. I really appreciate your particular mark that you put on the world. Let me just say that. And so thanks for doing what you do, and I appreciate you. And we'll keep following you. I wonder if you can tell us before we go. I know where to get mine because I got it from Amazon.
Yeah. If people Google my name, it should pop up in several places. But Amazon is my favorite because a lot of people leave reviews there.
Yes.
So Pillow of Dreams was my first book. It's my darling book. It's still #1 all these years on Amazon. It's still the best reviewed poetry book on Amazon. And my second book is called I'm Not a Princess, I'm a Complete Fairy Tale. They're teaching it in 2 universities, Wayne State and Michigan State, and that's also on Amazon. And if people want to pre-order The Life Currency, that's going to be my most important book. I feel like I was born basically to write The Life Currency. That's going to be life-changing because I talk about a lot of other things and actually give them actionable items because words are not enough. You need to tell people what kind of evidence we have of certain foods, certain exercises. So they're actionable items, and I talk about neuroplasticity, and poetry and artwork is also there. So yeah, find me and leave good reviews if you like the book.
Absolutely, absolutely. And I'm sure there'll be plenty of wonderful reviews. I can't say, and I think I mentioned this before, that I haven't sat down to read a book of poems, but I found myself looking deeply and feeling the experience that came before those words. So, it's definitely one that I recommend for sure. And I'm going to finish it because it'll teach me more about you and more about your unique perspective that you've been sharing with us today. So thank you so much for coming on to the Winner's Circle, Dr. Lakhera. I look forward to following you for more inspiration.
Thank you so much for having me. I really appreciate you, and keep shining, keep doing the great work that you're doing, spreading the messages and connecting people.
Thank you. And to you in the Winner's Circle, thank you for joining today's show. You can find this show on Mondays at 2 o'clock and Tuesdays at 6 o'clock. You can find it right here on RVN TV or wherever you have seen this. We post it on drshawnhubbard.com. You can find this show once weekly. Keep your eyes on us. We'll have a podcast coming as well. This show will be converted into a podcast. I can't wait to hear it already, and I can't wait to see it, as well as many others. As you're aware, what we're all about is seeing you win, seeing you enjoy more victory each and every day. Until we meet again, keep winning, guys. Take care.
Boardwalks built for fun.